associated with the whole,
Yes.
over.
Well, here.
Okay, that's
I saw it.
I thought that's what
Yeah,
it
well,
was.
nowadays, that's right, better than that.
Well, then, it's okay, we usually are okay.
Yeah, I don't know, while we're talking, but the whole point is to be on chair, I think it's that building.
No beer, no shade November?
Yeah.
No way relation to
I know we have to hear
But not a single vote in the
I hope we are right.
We'll do the double step next meeting. You know, you just barely have to start.
I'll do it real quick, yeah, but I don't have a
Jack, coming out?
Yeah.
When's the first Go ahead, certainly.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming to today's workshop. We can start with the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This meeting is now called to order. In line with the Borough of Seabright's long-standing policy of open government and in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, I wish to advise you that adequate notice of this regularly scheduled meeting was sent to the Asbury Park Press and other local newspapers on March 3rd, 2021. In each instance, the date, time, and location of this meeting were provided in the notice. This meeting is open for the public. Roll call. Councilmembers Virgil.
Here.
Booker. Catalano.
Here.
Gilbert. Lamia.
Here.
Lexi.
Here.
And of course, Nancy.
And Mayor Booker apparently is on the screen.
Oh yeah, all right. And we see Jeff. He's muted, so for the record, Jeff Booker is online. In attendance. All right. Morning, Jeff. So first up will be remarks from the audience. If there's anybody in person or online who'd like to be heard, just please state your name and your address, and you've got 3 minutes to address everyone. Would anyone like to be heard? Anyone online? All right, then we'll go right to our items for discussion. First up, I don't know if our CFO Mike Baskin is online yet. He's first. All right, so let's go to the first one. Is going to be the best practice survey. It's an annual survey that we conduct. So he's going to speak to that. So I'll give him some time to jump online. So we'll go right to Joe Brewing, capital projects in number 2.
Good. One item that I want to report on is the progress on the sewer lateral on Ocean Avenue at Center Street. Dave had a meeting yesterday and kind of worked this up a little bit with cooperation of the engineer, but they confirmed they videotaped everything out in the street. If you saw it, there was the police were out there. They blocked it and they're videotaping it. They found the laterals, according to Dave, and they will be saw cutting this evening, Dave?
Yes, the roadway.
The roadway?
We're just going to leave the saw cuts in there and then we're going to excavate tomorrow night.
Okay, you'll be here for that?
Yeah, and somebody at RAC will be here from Thompson because if they hit the force main, you got to shut the station.
Right. There's a whole confluence of utilities there. That's what the problem is. There's just, for some reason, it's it's like spaghetti over there with pipes and electric lines and everything else. We have Romson's, as Dave said, their forces coming in over there. So everybody is concerned. We've had a number of meetings on this, but, every utility has been out there, and as Dave said, Romson will be on site. So that's just an update on that one capital project.
Can we put, I know it's gonna cause a lot of traffic problems, can we put out some signs?
We have, well, traffic tonight. I don't think we're gonna have a huge traffic problem tonight. I think the way we're gonna alternate is gonna be fine. We're gonna have signs, they're gonna be putting signs out tonight. I'll put a mix out so everybody knows, expect delays, but they're not gonna be starting until probably after 8 o'clock tonight. They're not allowed to, so I don't think you're gonna see a big hole.
Once they start digging holes and they start excavating and stuff, that's gonna probably slow things down a bit. So we could put the, lit up signs to let people know that, because they're gonna be commuting to work, and if there's all of a sudden there's traffic.
It's only overnight.
All
It's all
overnight.
overnight. You won't see anything.
And Jim Morris signed on, he's the engineer working on this project. Jim, do you have anything to add to that? Jim, do you have anything to add to the, no, I guess he doesn't.
That's an answer.
He's on mute.
Hey, Joe, the only difference is they're gonna try to dig it shallower, not as deep as they originally planned, the replacement line.
Okay.
They're actually gonna try to replace the line that's in place. Donovan's disclosure season, so we can do it.
Okay.
Is there anything at the river, when it comes into the river, that's not anything involved with this, it's over here?
So we're gonna be on Ocean Avenue. Are they gonna isolate the apartment complex too, or are they gonna just keep it the way it is?
That's gonna stay the way it is. They're gonna put a manhole in like they planned, but the plan is to see how deep they have to go, and then they're gonna have to have that manhole manufactured to their specifications, and then, he said it'll be sometime after Thanksgiving when they actually start replacement project.
Thank you. The streets, Shrewsbury, Riverview, Riverside, in North Beach has been completed. The project, if anybody can take a ride up there, it seems to come out very well. When curbing, complete repaving, and that project has been done.
Did we take care of any of the issues that we had with the residents there, with the money and tar and stuff like that?
Fires all been removed from there. And the other complaint is the depressed curbing there is the same as on everyone else's property. That had gravel. If they had a blacktop, then we would repair the blacktop as well. So that project is done and completed and really looks good up there for the residents. We'll apply again this year. And I think we've awarded, Transportation Trust Fund.
You said, yes, optimization.
Yes.
Perfect, yes.
So we got additional money this year. That's all I have.
Thanks. All right, we're on to our public safety update. I see our police chief, Friedman, in person here.
Hi, good morning, everybody. So you must know we are doing the negotiating November. This is in no way reflection of my category, so
Trying to catch up.
we're not catching up. It'll be fine every week, so that's what you were. This was not busy every month, but we did have disorderly conduct, DWIs, warrants. We did have some weapons arrests. We did have some other police issues that we had to deal with. If anybody wants to meet afterwards, about 98 to 100 motor vehicle stops. This month, we've been working on our budget to have that done and in Mr. Baskin's and probably by another week, I would think. So our budget's almost done. We are having a little transition of court. Carol's been out sick, some other issues for a few days now. So she's having other people fill in for her right now. Okay, I've spoken to the judge, and hopefully we're going to have a smooth transition until Carol gets back. We don't have court until mid-December anyway. I don't think we're finished there. Other than that, it's been a pretty eventful month. We've had our officers going back and forth to the prosecutor's office just for Attorney General guidelines and updates, classes out there. So we're just showing people back and forth every single day. It should be done in a couple of days. We got a project proposal on Friday, and I think we decided to come back there for some more time to do. That's it. I don't know what Chad Murphy is. If anybody has any questions,
Any questions, Chief?
no?
No, sorry.
Second, that's just a sleepy little shore town.
Just one question on the capital updates. I just wanted the capital project updates. I want to touch basically. Dave, what was the situation with the sewer overflow in the liquor store the other day?
Sean called me this morning and said that they're gonna come out tomorrow and excavate to find out if it's in the old sewer line that's behind that whole area back there, or if it's in the line to the owner on 1060 Ocean Avenue. We're gonna open up the ground and then open the pipe.
Who's taking care of that?
He told me to sign the contract over tomorrow.
They did.
The owner did.
Okay, all right.
But if it's in an easement, we may end up paying.
Okay, so for those of you who aren't aware, there was a sewer backup in the liquor store. We've had that happen before. Didn't we have a backup in that liquor store once before?
Not that I can remember. I mean, there's been backups along that area, but most people hooked up into the front, like Angelica, because it took us about 10 years to get them going, and they finally did.
So, anyway, so there was a sewer backup in the liquor store down the street,
1060.
1060. So apparently they're going to be excavate the easement in the back of the sewer lateral runs. There is a chance that it may be our sewer lateral that's backed up and it's causing a problem. And if that's the case, then we may have some monetary problems there as far as fixing.
No matter whose line it is, if it's an
But we won't
easement,
know until everything else.
according to our ordinance, we're responsible for it.
Yeah, exactly. We won't know until they dig it up, but we'll find out more. So just keep everything there.
Understood, thanks. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah.
Just had, I asked Dave Estelle to speak to the board, but we are previously engaged.
Okay.
He just said very briefly, October, they had 9 calls. And they had no need for anybody from outside to handle them all themselves. And they helped out with 4 out-of-town calls. And he said they went well.
That's it.
Yes, I'll give you copies of the report.
Okay, thanks. Great. Yeah, I see, I guess, fire chief is not here today. I don't know if Charles is speaking anything, but I guess we'll go move on to item number 4. So this is it's a request to purchase.
Mr. Mayor, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, sorry, I had an issue unmuting the mic before. I messaged Christine, but I got it to unmute. Fire department's good. We're starting to work on the budget for next year. Most of you guys follow us on Facebook and stuff. We've handled a couple serious incidents over the last month. Luckily, mostly out of town. And we just thank you guys for your continued support of us and our mission.
Nice, thank you, John. Thank you, update also.
Yeah, good job, guys, this weekend.
Anyone have any questions? All right, thanks again. So on to the potential land purchase, question Woody's. I know you may have spoken to the owner or not, but basically it's like the 8-foot section in front, which is on the west side of Woody's, right in front of there. And correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think it takes up any, you don't lose any car spots there. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think it does, but this one would be like a kind of extended outdoor dining, is my understanding. So there's a little survey in here of the property and just a request to
Question we have to ask there is what is the minimum required space for behind parking space in that?
Sure.
Because as it says right here, it's only 26.9 feet, and that seems a little small.
build the
24-foot access aisles, to
go in and out, 24 foot.
They will turn, if you have the perpendicular space, yes.
All right, so they're within that realm, so I don't have a problem.
Rich, do you have anything that you want to add to this? How would we accomplish?
Well, you have to accomplish it by ordinance, because it's a private sale, you're not bidding it. You have to adopt an ordinance, do it, and then it'd have to be the title purpose, I'm sure everything I take care of, is the deed.
And how do you establish the price?
I guess the assessor is the guy to talk to, see what, at 8 feet by whatever it is, 54 feet is worth.
Is there an option to lease it to them with the access, electric easement? You use the space, you're leasing it, and if we need it, we can come back.
The problem is the liquor license attached to it. If they want to,
Right up to that space there, isn't it?
no, that's the whole point. The whole point of their request, from what I read here, is that they're looking to extend their liquor license to that space. And in order to do that, they have to own that property.
So in order to put liquor there.
They have to.
They would have to give us an outdoor dining there.
Yeah, that's it.
Is that right? Do you have to own it? You can lease property and have your license.
I know that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
That's what it sounded like in the. Well, that's what she said. That's what their attorney said. That they checked the ABC that they. Or I'm assuming that they were told it was required.
I prefer we lease it as an annuity and use the money to restore the old recreation center and work out some arrangement. I think that's easier than a purchase, but gives them what they're looking for, but we don't, lose the space.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that and make it sure out there.
Can you research that? Mr. Berman knows a lot about the law.
Yeah, sure.
It doesn't make any sense to me either.
There's restaurants and malls and everything that don't own the property.
Correct.
Well, it's problem is, I think it's a borough property. Because it's borough property, we can't exactly have, I don't know, maybe it's.
I don't know, let him find out.
I'm assuming, I'm saying.
So for your research, the leasing option, and then also if there's a purchase option, how does it appraise?
I'm told it's in, but you may need an appraiser.
I think third-party appraisals.
Yeah, I mean, you may need someone with, an appraiser, and Woody would have to pay for that appraiser. But let me talk this in first.
They will have
So
parking spaces there.
They're email from the lawyers, liquor license associated with South Pasco, license holder has to own all that.
Well, that's what their wife says.
Yeah. Normally you go to the ABC to have a license and you submit a sketch showing what the licensed premises are. It could include just the building, it could include, patio, it could include whatever. And then the municipality has to approve it too. I don't know. I'll see. I'll research it. I don't know if it's something tied to the fact that the temporary thing and now permanent. I don't know. Check it out.
Any other questions for Rich before this research? The next grouping here, so now we're about the sprinkler installation next to Woody's. This, everyone's seen it, the area between Woody's and the firehouse. So we had an issue with water supply there in the past, and
We did. Dave and Frank have been working on it. It's not we've been waiting for New Jersey American Water to come in and raise the water bid there because of the way the grade changed.
It's basically buried right now. It's exposed. The contractor requested who's going to put the irrigation system that they raised the bid up for.
So we have every intention of putting the sprinkler system in there, but New Jersey American Water is, you dealt with mine, not. You said they have to consider it an emergency.
Yes.
They're not.
I'll reach out to them today. It's fine. Get an update.
our shrubs are down this year.
I understand.
Are we paying them to do the work, and it has to be an emergency for them to come out and do the work that we're paying them to do?
Yeah,
It doesn't make any sense.
Unless you try to schedule it, then you'd be a year out from,
Don't we have like a legislative liaison of that American Water Company can call directly rather than Dave calling and stuff on their engineering department?
we do. We have legislative,
Could we try that?
Am I down?
Yeah. Yeah, some guy doesn't want to bother because he's doing other stuff. He wasn't one who's supposed to deal with us.
Could you, Joe, could you just double check on that? Because we want to put those steps in there. But this would not one will interfere with the other.
Yes, I'll confirm that. I think we were talking about the steps up farther east than that.
Okay.
This one's all the way up near where the Christmas tree is.
Oh, okay.
That was a
Regulations, what about the other one?
Oh, that's what's
Do we have them on radar or anything?
Yeah, we do. The rest of the irrigation system that was dug up, are they coming back for that?
Where's this at?
Along the beautification area.
Yeah, well, it's gotta be asked to install everything, yeah, but like I said, the request is to.
No, this
But everything along the fence line. When they put the fence in, they dug up a lot of those irrigation lines, and they're all kind of like hanging around on the top
Yeah,
of the
I'm
surface.
sure he's gonna get everything together and when he does the upgrade, put in a new system.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause it kind of looks like crap.
If it's dead, I'll have him dead ended. If it's, just.
No, they're active. They were working. I talked to Franklin.
The next couple items are just back on for discussion. Number 6 is the board and grooming cost one. I believe, Martin.
Yeah, so Rich is looking into that, and we have some comments.
So, the problem is enforcement to a large degree. I personally don't think that these houses are correct in saying, which apparently have been saying, that they can establish themselves anywhere in a residential zone without zoning approval. I don't think the statutes permit that, but they take that position and
they being the state of New Jersey, take that position.
yeah. So the problem would be, even if they came in, you'd have to do the enforcement. You'd have to get your zoning officer out there, and I also understand that, or I'm told, there's only 2 officials from the state who inspect these things. So you should have an extra layer of protection and not just rely upon the zoning. So what we think you should do, instead of doing a broad grooming house, which may give the impression that you allow those things generally, is to have one just for tailored for sober houses, and so they have to be licensed. And it's phrased in such a way that it's an in case ordinance, that in case they're permitted, or in case they get a use variance, they also still have to get this license. So we think an hour in the tower ordinance like that, we can put together a draft.
So we have next Monday for production.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Okay. Just these things are coming, so we've got to be protected from them.
So that's true. That's me now.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
So really, good job.
All right, so we'll be back on Monday on that. On to seasonal rentals, that was added back on. Just I know.
Yes, so Mayor, I asked that be put back on also. I wanted to see, and this is going to fall upon the next council, obviously, to deal with, but I wanted to see if the position has changed of council as to whether you wanted to still allow these or not allow them. I know there's been a lot of talk in the community lately, a lot of anti-Airbnb conversation, which we probably have all heard. So I'm just curious whether the position has changed. Because last year when we discussed this, it was definitely that we wanted to permit them.
Yeah, I was still suggesting that you.
I don't know what people want, but I just wanted to have the discussion.
I don't have a problem with them. I think we should allow them. I just think we have to figure out a way, and I don't know how to do it, to control who can own them. Because the biggest issue with this type of thing is you get these short communities like this, with these big LLCs or corporations that come in, they buy up houses for the sole purpose of Airbnbs, and they rent it out. So they basically destroy the small town feel of these little beach communities, because now you've got nothing transient residents in all year round, whether it's in summertime or you get seasonal wintertime residents. So I don't know how we can control that with the Airbnb thing. I don't know if we can, but I think that's an issue because, and I know Asbury Park tried to do it, but they tried to do it at an ordinance where it had to be your primary residence in order to rent it out as an Airbnb, and then they kicked that back down. gave them shit about that. So I don't know exactly how to deal with that. So.
Airbnb's on the platform.
No, I realize. It's like future. It's like future. It's like future.
I mean, my position has changed over the course of the year, only because I'm bombarded with these complaints about that. We're too small for the township. That's sort of where I am now mentally. I just don't see how they fit in, because wherever you put them, they become animal houses.
Well, we do have a lot of homes.
Do you have a record of any complaints, like on?
Yeah,
Chief, is there a record of any short-term rentals?
Short-term rental.
I will tell you, just talking to Jim over the past couple of years, I think we might have had one party with an Airbnb with a bunch of juveniles.
Well, I think a lot of
But this
people.
isn't something that we're dealing with on a weekend basis or in the summertime. I don't think, maybe some parking issues that go with it, if there's a lot of people, but I will tell you, it's not something we are dealing with on a regular basis, and we would never even know it's even there unless it's a big party or something like that. It's not something that we actually actively look at.
I think one of the problems, though, is that a lot of people don't want to call the police on their neighbors.
But they will, if there's a big party there, and there's a party going.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We don't have to enforce COs as good as we should, let alone how we.
No, that's definitely, well, that's part of the thing. We need to, part of the whole purpose of this is we need to put in an ordinance where you have to follow certain guidelines, whether it's, you know, you have to, like, we had spoken to Chief, actually Sorrentino prior to this, we had sat down and talked to Chief Sorrentino, and we had put out some guidelines where you have to get a CO for the property seasonally, change it every season. So at least, you know, if you're gonna rent it out, spring, summer, fall, winter, whatever, you have to get a CO for the change of the season. You have to report all, anyone that's going to be, any change of residents that are going to be there, you have to report who the primary point of contact is for that short-term rental. You have to report any adults that are going to be in there, how many adults. You don't necessarily have to give their names, but you have to know how many people are going to be there, how many people are going to be staying there. We have to know, you know, there's certain guidelines that we want to put in place. Like, listen, if you're going to be doing this,
Well, that makes sense.
we're going to make it so we can, you know, so we have somebody who calls. So we need a 24 point of contact 24 hours a day that owns the owner of the house, somebody that owns the property. Point of contact for the rent for the person that is renting, because if there is an issue, we need somebody for the police to be able to call and say, listen, we've got a problem, blah 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 blah. Who can we contact and get it straightened out? Whether it's the person that's renting and say, listen, slow your roll, relax, stop from the party or whatever. And then if it escalates, then we call the property owner, and then we have somebody that we can write a ticket to if we have an issue where it's getting out of control, where we can say, you know, and that's the problem with these LLCs. Who do you write a ticket to? If it's an LLC, you can't exactly write a ticket and say, listen, oh, it's, you know, the property is owned by an LLC. It's not owned by a person.
Our guidance from Tom Hagen. Tom Hagen was pretty good about letting us know who we should write a ticket to. But if there's a party, we obviously if it's underage people, or that's easy.
Right, but yeah, I mean, but that, and then again, you're writing a ticket to the person that's renting there, and the person that's actually renting the property is now taking no responsibility for actually renting it to the person that caused the problem in the first place. And that's where that's where the issue lies, because they're like, oh, I just rented it, I have no idea. And they can just walk away and be like, you know.
No, that's not true.
Well,
It's not taken.
I know of a few near my house, and I've never had a problem with any of them. And I've never had, personally, I've never had anyone to me about any, you know, downline.
I personally haven't heard any complaints.
But it doesn't solve the problem if people aren't call us.
Yeah, how do you know they're there?
Right, that's the other thing. The other thing is too, is you don't know who's coming and going.
But that's what we kind of addressed. First of all, we already discussed this thing. You summarize it. Well, you know, get a point of contact, whoever's there. You get a CO, whoever's there. And those are our control mechanisms right there.
Right, but I think that's what we need, is we need an ordinance, we need to put an ordinance in place that, you know, where we have these things. Right now, we have no ordinance, we have absolutely zero ordinance on this, so it is pretty much a free-for-all with these short-term renters. They can come in and do whatever they want,
But they're not gonna call you and tell you I'm here. They're not gonna call you and tell you, I'm renting my place this week, so I need to do the proper procedure. Most of them are just gonna do it. They're doing it now.
Well, that's the thing, that's the other thing too, is we need some kind of
And keep
mechanism.
in mind, right now, the ordinance requires they get a CO for every single new tenant, and they're not doing that.
Right, but I'm just
So
saying.
they're all breaking the laws it is right now.
But I'm just saying, that's the other piece. But that's
It doesn't matter, they're changing the residence.
But that's the other piece, is we need a mechanism, we need to put a mechanism in place in the town that checks for these type of things, whether we're scouring the internet for postings on these various services. But again, that's money, it costs us money to do that, but we need to be able to manage it and police it in a sense where, if they're doing it without us telling, and Tom has done this before. Tom had, somebody, I don't know, a few years ago, somebody was like, people are posting, and they were able to scour the internet and say, people are posting renters all the time, and they're posting illegal rentals because they didn't get a CO, because they didn't get this, and because they didn't get that. So this is the type of thing we need to be able to police it. Otherwise, you're right, no matter what ordinance we put in place, they're gonna do whatever they want unless we have a way of policing it. And so I mean, I'm just being plain devil's advocate.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to know, if you hear any real world ones, because I know we're hearing scenarios, potential outlaws. I just haven't seen it, and I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, neither have I, but I have heard. Christine,
It wasn't not even a stop for potential complaints over the course of the year.
I've heard a couple complaints from other people saying that this is a place on Church Street or something, that they don't actually start doing anything until 2 o'clock in the morning, and it's like music blaring and everything like that, so.
You've also had a memo from Tom Hague some time ago asking you to increase the penalty for the non-CO, because people were just, if you recall, maybe.
But again,
So they're still making more on the rentals.
But again, it's one of those situations where we need to be able to find them and find that they're actually posting it. And you don't have a CO, you've now posted on Airbnb or whatever platform that you're renting. Well, now we have to give them a fine. Somebody has to do that work where they're actually scouring these platforms for postings and see who's going to get paid for that. Because it has to be somebody within on our council, not a council, but our town.
It's not that time consuming.
Huh?
It's not that time consuming.
Right, but I mean.
We understand that there are businesses in the city like that, some of them are not mercantile.
Again, but it's not.
I just threw it out there, you guys are gonna have to deal with it next year.
We have to put something in place, so I don't know if you want to leave it as is, that's fine, but if not, then we need to talk to Rich and Roger.
Yeah, I don't agree, because unless we have a way to identify it, what's the sense of putting trailers on it that you'll never get to because we don't know where they are?
Well, like I said, I put out a couple of things that, we need to put in place in order to put an ordinance in place, because an ordinance doesn't make sense if we don't have somebody policing it, so we need to put those things in. If we're not willing to do that, then I agree, that's it.
I have some sample ordinances that were distributed earlier in the year, and I can send them out again.
And we did have a rep from Airbnb call in.
We did.
And we had the big one from Atlantic City, which is a really, really tight one, but it's freaking Atlantic City, and they've got more money than God, so it's different than us. They had like 15 departments that I've never heard of.
Oh, yeah, it's not good. We can always revisit it and edit it. But I mean, it's going to really, probably will boil down mainly to neighbors who do. I know some people might not want to call in, but I would if I had an issue. I don't see why somebody wouldn't call in if there's a significant problem.
Yeah,
And I'm sure Airbnb will be a regular homeowner, be anybody.
We have, let me ask Tom to come to the next workshop, it's the 18th.
That's always anything out there.
See if he what his suggestions are for controlling, curtailing, and policing them. That would be, because he would know best of all.
And the boarding houses, Rich, you think you can have it for Monday, we won't have time to review it or anything, does that have to be done on Monday?
If he just takes it, well, that's what we're trying to do, we got it through this year.
Is it?
Yeah, because you only have one meeting in December. These things are coming, people, and I'm afraid if you wait till February to review something, you're screwing yourself.
Yeah, January is tough. It's a rework meeting, really. It's not really.
And it's not that house, I gave Rich the ordinance already, he just has to edit the ordinance.
I put it together, I mean, you won't have much time to do it, but we can put it together.
I have worked with the rest, maybe if it needs adjustments later, we can always adjust it. Better to have it in place than not.
Okay.
I just want to, I think Kevin's suggestion that we always have somebody's name and phone number that's directly responsible. Stuff happens in the middle of the night.
Yeah, well, we were done last time too. We just have to Yeah, that's fair. So you have to have a point of contact if somebody's renting their house out.
Yeah.
Well, even if you rent a house for a realtor, usually the realtor takes up the mantle of 24/7 contact. That's what you're paying for them for. So if there is an issue, you call a realtor, and the realtor takes care of that problem and contacts whatever needs to be done. In general, I mean, you rent out places, you have places that you rent out.
Airbnbs, and I have no real estate license, and, I don't, we need to get more information. I don't think we should just throw this together.
Most times, let's see what the problems are with Tom. I mean, if they're not getting COs, it's,
That's the biggest issue.
right. I mean, I expect to go on, VRBO or Airbnb and just hit SeaWay. I mean, that's not very onerous, but, you're not going to scour every realtor.
The biggest issue is downtown. I mean, houses are so close to each other. If we have, heaven forbid, some issue where there's, the property is not properly maintained, there's no fire extinguisher or something like that, somebody all of a sudden has a grease fire on their kitchen because they fell asleep while they had the stove on, half the town's gonna burn down. Because it's just the house is on top of each other. We can't have that. It's got to, fire detectors aren't working, smoke detectors aren't working.
I just don't know how that's connected to short-term rental.
It's not just short-term rental. You have more of a chance of that.
I think that me have been the homeowners who have a big lot. And I mean, it's not a short-term rental thing, homeowners who have, a Labor Day party or whatever else, and they have it, which is fine. But I don't think it's a short-term rental issue solely.
Well, I think the safety issue, and the reason you say, that's not, I think the safety issue as far as fires and stuff like that, is the more of a turnover of people in a house, the less maintenance is being done. People are coming in, they're just cleaning, they're not necessarily checking smoke detectors, not necessarily checking the safety.
We have to be held to a certain standard.
If you're getting a CO every time you do it, if you're not getting a CO, who knows if the guy two before you had a small grease fire, use the fire extinguisher, clean it up, back it up.
Yeah, I just put it on there.
I'm just saying.
After we use the discussion, because you're gonna have to deal with it one way or the other.
All right, on to number 8. See, Sean walked in for time. I think you put together, thanks for putting together for the commercial pickup information shared with us. I guess everybody saw the packet. And it's just a continuing conversation, something to go about how to, if there are any changes, we limit it to X amount of garbage cans per business, what have you. So,
again, Sean sent an email for this, so it kind of breaks down just numerically some of the numbers for just one business in town. And you can obviously expand that out exponentially throughout the other business. Obviously, this is one of the bigger businesses as far as garbage pickup. But we can see that we're looking at, for just one business, probably a savings of about $18,000 to $20,000 a year on solid waste pickup. So if we expand that out, probably somewhere in the range of $50,000 or $60,000 a year we can save for solid waste. And Sean, correct me if I'm wrong here.
Yeah, no, you're right, and,
there's a huge savings to the residents of the town tax-wise, just because we're not spending that money on solid waste pickup. The problem is now how do we control those businesses getting picked up? Who's getting picked up? Is it everybody? Is it every business? Is it are they going to be doing it 7 days a week?
It's got its first phase. You got to do it
exactly. So I personally feel bad saying that the guy putting out half a trash can on the business, some realtor downtown.
Sure. We discussed the option before to have maybe X amount of garbage cans.
Exactly.
For regular pickup, and then it go private.
Yeah, anything over, let's say, 2 garbage cans or 3 garbage cans per business is private. It needs to be private pickup, or you have to work out a contract with our company and pay extra for.
So they have to be segregated? It can't be that I pay a fee because I have 10 cans out and the same garbage truck takes it. You need another truck or something?
No, not necessarily. That was the second part. So it's like they're covered for X amount of cans. Anything over that amount of cans, they have to either one of two things: either get a secondary truck to come and pick that up, or work out a contract with our company that is currently picking up to then pay them extra for that.
Yeah, Sean, do you know how that would work? Because if a certain business has do they have to assume about how many pickups there would be each time, or is it, because otherwise you're not going to keep track of how many cans you pick up every time, so how?
Yeah, the way the ordinance states now, they're allowed X amount of cans. So my thing would be if they follow that ordinance, then anything above that, I mean, I think it's pretty easy on the hauler end to go to the hauler and say, listen, anything more, they're pretty good with not picking anything more than what they need to pick up.
That's true.
So if they put out more and they go directly to that hauler, or I spoke to Joe also about this, about, and Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, about reimbursement to the town instead of the hauler. So the hauler will still pick up everything they have.
Okay.
But then we would, the town,
They'd be able to track it, log literally how many cans are.
what they have extra wise.
The only problem with that doesn't deal with the leaky garbage cans.
Well, that's a whole separate
Oh, no,
issue.
it is related, because it's the same truck picking up both garbage cans, and then they drive around and they,
Right, even if it's happening before you get that can, this is going to address it. I still think I get, otherwise you're not going to log either one.
Right.
We should talk about.
One, use them as separate, I think they should be separate, because they are separate things regardless. Whether you have a different company come in and pick up the business trash, or they use the same truck and pick up the business trash, you're still gonna have a problem with leaking trucks, no matter how you look at it.
well, the separate truck, you're not, the truck is then not going on the route, and
It's not going up to the neighbors. It's not going up to the neighbors, yeah.
We do have many businesses that hire their own haulers right now.
Yeah.
And so those trucks are on our street. I don't know, there's only a limited number of people that would pick up here. Somebody's not gonna come from,
But they might pick up on a different day.
Well, there's also, they only have one contract.
They are now. You have, you have, what's at the very north end, the restaurant.
You got Scooters, you got,
Second Jetty has their own trash, Flynn's has their own trash.
No, I know, I understand that, but what I'm saying is, John, you know, because you can get it to see by Village a lot, with the leased truck, and that's because they pick up Angelica's and they drive down and they just complete their route, they're leaking all the damn place.
Yeah, they pick up the dumpsters as well, so I don't know that the reading is the same, because if I have one can out and it leaks, 50 cans out and it leaks, it's the same leakage.
Well, you could have, you're gonna do whatever you're gonna do in terms of limiting cans or storing commercial, but you could have an ordinance just for that, just for.
It is, what I was told
It's
by
under contract.
the former chief was whatever comes out of that truck has to go back in. So it cannot leak. Not supposed to.
Has it been an issue since
No.
this came up
No.
over the summer?
I will tell you that since you got back to me, we haven't had.
There's been no more leaks. So hopefully, I mean, granted, you could also ask, and if I'm, correct me if I'm wrong, we put a add-on on the contract of asking for a certain truck has to be certain year that they send in here. You can't send a truck that's 30 years old in here to pick up trash. I think that's one of the problems is the truck. You go to Rumson, Roselli picks up in Rumson, but they're not picking up the trash with a 30-year-old truck in Rumson. Same thing with me.
You can certainly put in language about the quality of the truck, and then it doesn't have holes and it's not leaking.
And it had
whether you can
some sort of fine.
set a certain date, I don't know.
Well, no, I didn't know the leaking had stopped, John, so that's good to hear.
Well, it was continuing, and then Sean got back to me and said he thought it again.
They did show me they did weld the areas that need to be welded there were holes in their hopper, and even new trucks have holes to drain out water, especially rainwater when the trucks sit in the yard that they don't drain out. And they did show me the spots that they did weld closed. So hopefully that's
Right now, it was
continued.
okay, but I would say it was at the end of the summer, so.
What the volume went
Maybe the
down.
volume, yeah.
Right.
That's caution right now.
But we do have it in the contract. I'm 99% sure it's in the contract.
Pretty sure.
Even though they're related subjects, I think they're technically separate subjects.
No, I agree.
It's aware of.
So regardless of you back up, we're just like that again.
I agree.
You can have to address
I
it.
don't think we should hurt the businesses. I mean, they're part of our town. If we want to put a certain limit, I think that's fine. But we should definitely not have them off.
Yeah, I would agree.
I actually like Sean's idea where it's like we just pay the regular, do the regular contract, everything like that. Anything over and above, the businesses are then responsible to pay us for that overage. I don't know if we can do that.
I mean, if they can log that, that's not much work on them. That seems reasonable.
I don't know if can we do that with the businesses? Can we-
You could do it. I mean, I don't know if you're gonna, I mean, anytime that comes up there, is think about collection problems, but, I don't see it off my head, I think you can't do that,
How do you maintain accurate records?
Well, we have to deal with the company, or whoever the hauler is, they're the ones that are, they're gonna tell us that, you know, because when they pick up these, especially the toters, they have a weight. They have-
Yeah, some trucks, especially the new ones, are equipped with scales in them, so every time they pick up these cans, it sends a weight to the screen of where they're picking it up, who's picking it up, and how many cans they're picking up at that address. So, as long as they're equipped with that,
If you're worried against this guy's word back and forth, that's good to have that.
Our biggest issue down here is that we have one carrier, and only one carrier will ever try and apply here for an RFP, because, you know, we're Jersey. So.
Because I don't know how many places are a problem.
and that's why I did it at just this place. Everything else is on a smaller scale. And we have Ocean House, but there's really not many others involved that are up to this part.
We're creating an entire system for a couple of people. Why don't you just limit, you're only allowed 2 cans? It's only going to be a couple places.
So right now, it's what, 10?
They were up to 10 cans.
Yeah, 10's a lot.
That's
But you have
But
the,
they're out there.
It's 5.
If not, and 10 cans at 65 gallons, they have 10 to 15, 95 gallons.
Yeah, the big ones.
So they got the big ones right off the bat.
if we could keep it simple,
That's
we're
what-
creating a new system, because I'm trying to, who's going to do this?
So we don't encourage you not to take advantage of it, so like, let's just, it's just a simple thing for the limit of like 5 cans.
Well, the problem is, if they have more than 5 cans, then
Obviously, they're still generating the same garbage, so what are they gonna do with it?
they gotta get rid of it. They gotta get rid of it somehow, so.
But if it's only a couple businesses there,
The problem is, it's a couple businesses that are, there's one bad egg that spoils the batch. You know, I mean, seriously. You know, they start off and they give them leeway and it almost has a spread.
Charlotte, one of the things, is it practical to, you know, for them to track this, you think, if you have, you know, say there are 5 businesses in question who might go over our limits? You think they'd be able to track it without any big issue?
I think they could come up with some kind of report-wise of what they're going over. Obviously, this time of year, well, maybe not. They're still busy.
It was still.
Yeah, they were still back Friday night, Saturday night.
Why not ask them for what their idea is to control, what is our issue, right? Is tonnage and
Say status
leakage.
quo.
No, that's not a good part.
Tonnage, it seems as a tonnage.
That's our big expensive tonnage.
That's an expense, it's $50,000 a year, okay, it sounds like a lot of money, but the leakage is what the community is talking about. And that to me would be the first priority, solve the leakage, not the lighter garbage if it was leakage.
Well, that or we go back, yeah, well, I mean, obviously, the letters is much worse.
Well, that's what else to consider, though.
I mean, maybe we could work out something with the hauler that they pick up these X businesses that we know cause problems with liquid last before they leave.
We changed their route so many times and they're all over the place now.
I see them running back.
Yeah, they're doing a couple streets up north, they'll hit a couple here south, and they'll go back up north. Yeah, so they're already at that.
They need the truck back in closure.
Yeah,
That's simple.
yeah, and that's going to the whole toter system.
Yeah.
The main point, we don't want garbage stored.
Yeah.
I got too many cans of them for the next pickup.
No, that's why picking up at the same time makes sense, unless they're gonna go private from the get-go. Like, you don't wanna say, all right, you know, here are your 5 garbage bags, we'll leave the other 7 here. That's,
Yeah, that's a big problem behind certain businesses. Yeah.
But that's also the problem with going private too, is that they could be setting garbage cans out there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and just them.
so
So
it
you'll
makes
have,
sense if we're gonna change it all, I think it makes sense to have them pick it up, and then if there's an overage, just have them track it and charge the business.
I think that's what we should do. I think that's the best idea.
Seems fair, because you don't have all the redundancies built in.
Right.
Jeff, just unrelated to that, if we're going to that topic. Is James Worker the only here for that one topic of beginning of the meeting? Are we paying him to like sit here?
No,
Okay. Just making sure.
no, but that's the contract.
He's just sitting there, I don't know.
All right, so what are the final thoughts on number 8?
Well, you have fun.
How do you feel about it?
I say it's always on leakage, and then look at tonnage. Leakage is number one.
I agree with you.
All right, would you call John Roselli and,
We have to call them anyway, together,
yeah,
about that other issue.
All right, there you go, so we'll do that. Leakage and tonnage. All right, sounds good. We got an email on it, the 2022 meeting schedule. The only thing I noticed in question is whether we do the workshops on Wednesdays or Thursdays. So I think we have to pick that, because it had both days down. The council meetings are set on whatever day they are. I don't think there's any question changes on that.
On Wednesday, we changed to Wednesday because the market is not going to be here.
It's up to you guys.
I like it better too, but we also, but also anyone else at the conference, everybody preference either way. You have a Thursday preference?
I was contemplating it, but,
She's working.
is there any other anomalies in next year's schedule that you want to
There's
point out?
one other thing. And that is, this year in September, we only had one meeting because of the big holidays. I don't know if you want to add a second meeting back. And also October 4th is our first Tuesday meeting, and that's the sunset beginning of Rosh Hashanah or one, I can't remember which one it was. But, I don't know if you want to be that way or not.
The other things we don't have a schedule yet, but we'll probably have, maybe some town hall meetings this year to add in along the way for obvious reasons, so I must think.
Mark, would that be a conflict if, on October 4th, a Tuesday night, that has a meeting then?
I didn't care this year.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a difference to me.
But it's really for the residents, so would they be?
Yeah, all the residents come to all the meetings. Do they get,
They come and
if you have, theoretically, if you have a meeting on the night of Rosh Hashanah, that's not good, and a Jewish person could not come to the meeting.
Yes.
Right, so it's the night before, but that's when the holiday begins.
Yeah, something like that. Okay, so, should we not have a voting before meeting?
We never need a special,
Yeah, one
we
back in
always add a special
September,
meeting.
and then not have the first one in October. And if we need to add one, okay.
Then you move to the workshop on Thursday, or you just?
I don't know, that's the question. What's Thursday? What do you think, guys?
Well, you'd like Wednesday and she likes
I
Wednesday.
think it's a little extra time to process resolutions and things that you guys.
Rather than having a Thursday, Friday, and then having a meeting on Tuesday.
I know it can be ours.
You fine with that?
Anybody post
Erwin, do you have a preference? Or you can be
Wednesday's fine.
Can we, the only other thing is now we have all out an electric calendar, can we actually, electronic calendar, can we have this put on the calendar? We all have a shared calendar now,
Oh, okay.
so we have it put on a shared
Yeah, we're not gonna
calendar.
actually approve this.
So that goes back in now.
And we agreed to stay with one day, right?
Yes.
Alright, so we're all set.
Now we have to still come to the meetings above you guys.
Oh, yeah. That's everybody's lot. When anybody, whoever's goes out there, come back and say, remind us how, all right, so this is, we've talked about this property before. So it's 26 Center Street. It's over near where Kevin and I live, right between our properties pretty much.
New Street.
Yep.
New Street.
Yeah. And so this is the one with the utility pole issue, where he had the utility wire. Yeah, utility wire is kind of going over. That kind of is going over the top of his house. So he's been trying to renovate it, trying to lift the house, all that fun stuff. So I guess they have a. That's the order.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so basically what the deal is, they want to raise their house and improve their house. They cannot raise their house or improve the house because they're literally wire immediately over the house. They, the property owner says, I forget if it's JCP&L, right? That JCP&L is going to have an easement to have a pole there. So they're in litigation with JCP&L to have to remove the pole because there's no easement. However,
Technically, there's two poles there. There's one on each corner. One on the corner of New Street, one on.
yeah, but there's only one that's the issue, that's running the line right over there. So the settlement proposal put together was that they could move, if they could get the former Stavala property to agree to take it, then now owned by Denholz, to take the pole and move it, and that would resolve their litigation. And that's where they are. Apparently, Denholz has been amenable to a change, which is what Joe's showing you, and I'm not really sure what the town, I guess you have to approve it in some capacity.
It's our right of way, but it's on private property. Do we have to approve it? I mean,
Poles on private property?
It would be.
in our right of way.
I think we went through this before, that you still have to go before the planning board, right? Because the structure being erected. We went through this a few years back.
That depends on the ordinance.
So it's on the owner's property now, they're moving across the street, so it'll be a different property, but it's.
It's still on private. It's still on private.
It's going to be moved into our right of way.
Yeah.
Then you should pass it.
I think that's what Brodsky's asking us to do.
Yeah, what is John Holtz asking in return?
I don't draft for anything.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think the thing is,
I think they're gonna need utilities
Yeah.
themselves anyway.
Right.
So,
No, they all have
like a tag on.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, there's that tit for tat.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a good neighbor.
but that will get.
There's a gigantic project they want to build there. It's a little bit more than that. So we gotta tread
If
lightly.
you get that resolved in 2015, you can improve itself as big as high score on that street, and other than the 18.
No, I-
That's the Verizon building, and,
No, we can get it done. We can get it done next year. Just actually do it because it's that house is.
As a new resolution?
Thank you, sir.
And Rick Brodsky represents the homeowner.
Okay, right, I saw that in there somewhere.
All right, final agenda item, number 11, personnel policies, procedures, and annual revisions.
yeah, I didn't have any problem with that, and I don't know, Jeff Booker dropped off, so he hasn't been on for a while. But,
We're under deadlines and that passed, correct?
when you get a resolution at the next meeting adopting it,
Sure.
I don't have a problem with that. Yeah.
We later returned to the Jeff approved it.
I just wanted to pull last time, because none of us had looked at it. It just sort of like ended up on our files, so.
All right, fair enough. So I guess we want to carry number 1 to the next meeting, Joe?
Yeah, we can just report on that. Our best practices is, as the mayor said earlier, we do it every year, answer questions for the state. Most of the questions are point-based. We far exceed the minimum standard. A lot of them now are survey questions at the end, and you don't even know why they're asking them. But one, we've exceeded the state's threshold to get our full amount of state aid, because we do, more than enough follow best practices, and we're going to post it on our website when it's done. And we've really done all of it. The staff has done a great job, and Chris has worked hard on getting all those answers to some of the questions. And you have a copy in your package. So we're in compliance with state statute.
Sounds good, thanks. Thank you. I think it's, we have a list of upcoming resolutions, the 3 lists of day review. But aside from that, I think we do have an executive session today, litigation, but I believe that's it. And then you have the public portion, that's correct, unless there's anything else.
I'll make a motion to go into
The new person,
Second.
we're having their special.
Councilmember Berthold?
Yes.
Booker? Adlana?
Yes.
Hewitt? Conley? Gillespie?
Yes. They did say I gave them a really hard time, rightfully so. And they carried the application because they realized they were not going to have it. That's one of the American names. But they like laughed. Right? He was 100% right. What he was saying. Because they wanted, they eliminated the deck in the back in order to make the land people happy, so they just put the deck in front. And he put it like extended it to the setback, the front yard setback. And he was like, you don't need this. And he's like, well, they want a deck. He's like, well, that's not our problem. You know?